There's a moment, and it happens to all of us, when we finally draw that line in the sand, when we stand up, plant our feet, and say, I know who I am, I know what I deserve. And when that happens, people who were used to controlling us, they feel it. And if they can't manipulate you anymore, they don't just walk away quietly, they pull out their dirtiest tricks. When manipulation doesn't work, the first move many people make is to emotionally detach, not in a healthy, respectful way, but as a weapon. It can be subtle at first. Maybe they stop returning your calls as quickly. Maybe their warm texts turn cold, curt, transactional. The conversations that used to be easy and full of laughter suddenly feel like walking on broken glass. And if you notice and say something, they act confused, innocent, I'm just busy, you're overthinking things. This emotional distance is not accidental. This silent punishment meant to trigger an old fear wired deep inside all of us, the fear of being left behind, the fear of losing connection, the fear that if we stand too firmly in who we are, we'll end up alone, because emotional connection is survival. From the time we are tiny, helpless children, connection means safety. To be ignored, to be emotionally starved, feels like danger on a primal level. People who weaponize emotional distance know this. Whether they know it consciously or not, they are hoping to make the silence louder than your self-trust. They want you to feel uncomfortable enough to backtrack, to soften your boundaries, to hand back your power, not because you were wrong, but because the loneliness felt unbearable. But here's the truth they don't want you to remember. Their sudden coldness isn't about your worth, it's about their discomfort with your strength. When you grow, when you shift, when you finally start asking for what you need and deserve, it threatens the system where they always had the upper hand. And when they realize they can no longer control you with words, they'll try to control you with absence. It's a form of manipulation that says, look how easily I can leave you. But the real question is, if love was conditional on your obedience, was it ever really love at all? Standing in your truth might mean sitting in some really painful silence. It might mean watching someone you care about step back instead of stepping up. And it hurts. It hurts like hell. But that pain isn't proof you're doing the wrong thing. It's proof you're doing the brave thing. Choosing yourself, even when they withhold affection, is an act of radical courage. When the emotional detachment threat shows up, breathe through it, cry if you need to, grieve if you must, but do not betray yourself just to earn back the comfort of their approval. You were not born to beg for scraps of connection. You were born to belong fully, freely, unapologetically. When emotional distance doesn't pull you back into line, they'll often reach for a tool that's even more insidious, guilt and shame. It starts subtly, a comment here, a sigh there. Maybe they say things like, after everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me, or I guess I just don't matter to you anymore. It's not a direct attack that would be too easy to spot. No, guilt tripping is sneakier. It's designed to make you second guess yourself, to take your strength, your boundary, your self-protection, and reframe it as cruelty. Because if they can make you feel bad for choosing yourself, maybe, just maybe, you'll hand your power back to them willingly. Here's the dangerous part. Guilt and shame are potent because they hit us where we're most vulnerable. Most of us were raised to believe that being good means being agreeable, selfless, accommodating. So when someone paints your boundary as an act of betrayal, your heart aches to fix it. Your instincts scream, make it right, be the bigger person, don't hurt them. But here's the truth that guilt trippers don't want you to see. You are not hurting them by honoring your limits. You are hurting the version of them that depended on your lack of limits. Shame is guilt's sharper, meaner cousin. If guilt says you did something bad, shame says you are bad. They won't just make you feel like you made a mistake. They'll make you feel like you are the mistake. You've changed. You're selfish now. You're not the person I used to know. Those words aren't observations. They're weapons. They are meant to make you believe that your growth is a character flaw, that your evolution is abandonment, that your boundaries are cruelty. But let's be clear, you are allowed to grow. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to choose yourself, even if it inconveniences someone else's idea of you. And people who love you healthily will never make you carry the weight of their disappointment as proof of your love. They will never ask you to shrink, to silence yourself, to stuff down your knees just to keep them comfortable. Guilt tripping and shame are desperate attempts to rewrite the story, to cast themselves as the victim and you as the villain. Because when manipulation fails, rewriting the narrative becomes plan B. But here's the secret. You don't have to play the role they wrote for you. You can feel the pull of guilt without letting it drag you under. You can hear the whispers of shame without making them your truth. You can choose to disappoint others in order to stay loyal to yourself. And that, my friend, is integrity at its most courageous. Real love, love worth holding on to, doesn't use guilt as a leash or shame as a shackle. Real love says, I respect who you're becoming, even if it challenges who I thought you were. So the next time someone tries to guilt you back into submission or shame you for growing, pause, breathe, put your hand over your heart and remind yourself, my worth is not up for debate. My boundaries are not betrayals. My growth is not something to apologize for. You owe no one an apology for becoming who you were always meant to be. When emotional distance doesn't crack you, when guilt and shame don't drag you back into the old patterns, there's another card they'll often play. They'll make themselves the victim. It's a masterstroke of manipulation because it flips the entire script. Suddenly, they're not the one causing harm, you are. Suddenly, you're the bad guy for daring to set a boundary. Suddenly, your self-respect looks like cruelty. Your honesty looks like betrayal. And here's the wild part. Sometimes they truly believe it. Because people who are deeply uncomfortable with accountability will often twist reality in ways that protect their own self-picture. You'll hear things like, I can't believe you would do this to me. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I guess I was never enough for you. They will cry. They will look wounded. They will tell anyone who will listen that you are the problem, that you are the heartbreaker, that you are cold, selfish, toxic. And you might find yourself questioning everything. You might wonder, am I being too harsh? Am I being unfair? Maybe I should just apologize and smooth things over. But pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who is centering the conversation around their pain without acknowledging their behavior? Who is making your healthy boundary the source of their suffering instead of reflecting on why the boundary was needed in the first place? Playing the victim is not about their hurt, it's about regaining control. Because if they can make you feel responsible for their feelings, in other words, you're under $1 million a day, you probably make 10 million or less. And I don't mean cause someone else hurt, but because they benefited from the version of you that didn't have boundaries. You are not responsible for someone else's inability to deal with your growth. You are not responsible for someone else's refusal to respect your boundaries. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, it's heartbreaking to watch someone you care about wrap themselves in a story where you are the villain, especially when all you did was stand up for your own heart. But when they play the victim, it's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign you're doing something profoundly right, refusing to carry responsibility for someone else's emotional labor. People who genuinely love you might feel hurt when you change, but they will not weaponize that hurt against you. They will not ask you to self-abandon to stay connected. If someone needs to rewrite history to make themselves the victim of your truth, it tells you everything you need to know about the health of the relationship. You don't have to fix their story. You don't have to defend yourself against every false narrative. You don't have to shrink back down to make their feelings more manageable. You can let them be wrong about you. You can let them spin their story while you walk in yours. A story that is messy and complicated, yes, but also brave and true. Because at the end of the day, you are not responsible for someone else's comfort. You are responsible for your own wholeness. So when they play the victim, don't play along. Hold your boundary, honor your growth, protect your peace. When emotional distance doesn't work, when guilt tripping and shame don't pull you back, when playing the victim doesn't get you to cave, they'll try something more corrosive. They'll start chipping away at your confidence, not with loud insults, not with open attacks. No, it's usually slower, subtler, death by 1,000 tiny cuts, a backhanded compliment here, a sarcastic comment there, a raised eyebrow when you talk about your dreams, a sigh when you share your plans, a laugh when you dare to believe in yourself. At first, it might not even register. You might brush it off. They're just joking. I'm being too sensitive. Maybe they just don't understand. But over time, those little moments add up. And suddenly you find yourself second guessing things you used to be sure of. You find yourself hesitating before speaking up. You find yourself shrinking, questioning, doubting. That's not an accident. When someone feels threatened by your growth, they'll try to make you distrust your own instincts, because a confident you is a powerful you. And a powerful you is someone they can't control. So instead of attacking you head on, they'll sow tiny seeds of doubt. Are you sure you want to do that? That seems a little ambitious for you, don't you think? I mean, I guess if you really think you can pull it off, you used to be more grounded. Translation, I'm uncomfortable with how much you believe in yourself, so let me try to drag you back down to a level I can manage. Undermining your confidence isn't just about words, it's about energy. It's about the way their silence speaks volumes when you share a win. It's about how their support always feels conditional, hesitant, loaded with invisible strings. And here's the cruel twist. The more you doubt yourself, the easier it is for them to swoop back in and rescue you, to position themselves as the voice of reason in your life, to convince you that without their guiding hand, you'll fail. It's not guidance, it's not concern, it's control wrapped in faux concern. The heartbreaking part, sometimes the people who undermine us the most are the ones we love the most, which makes it so much harder to recognize and even harder to walk away from. But hear me clearly, your dreams are valid, your voice is needed, your intuition is sacred, your growth is not up for negotiation, you are not too much. You are not delusional. You are not crazy for wanting more for your life. You are simply stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. And yes, it's uncomfortable for people who only knew how to relate to the version of you that stayed small to keep them comfortable. You do not have to dim your light just because it hurts their eyes. You do not have to question your brilliance just because it exposes their insecurities. The people who truly love you will cheer louder the bigger you become. The ones who can't handle your light were never meant to walk your whole journey with you. So when you feel those seeds of doubt being planted, pause, take a breath, come back to yourself, water the seeds of self-trust instead, because the truth is your future belongs to the boldest, most authentic version of you, not the watered down version someone else feels safer around. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to believe in your magic. You are allowed to walk into rooms like you belong there, because you do. Protect your confidence like it's sacred, because it is. Guard your self-trust like it's a treasure, because it is. And never let anyone convince you that who you're becoming is anything less than extraordinary. When all the other tactics fail, when emotional distance, guilt tripping, shame, and playing the victim don't reel you back in, some people will resort to the most insidious, soul-crushing move of all. They'll try to isolate you. Isolation doesn't always look like locking you in a room. It's far subtler, far more dangerous than that. It can be in the form of subtle manipulation that makes you feel like the people who truly care about you are somehow the ones hurting you. It can come as an offhand comment, like, they don't really understand you like I do. Or, you don't need to spend so much time with them, you've got me. At first, it might feel like care, like concern, like a protective instinct, as if they're just looking out for you, trying to help you focus. But here's the truth. Isolation is not love. Isolation is control. And it's one of the most dangerous tools used to manipulate someone. When they isolate you from your support system, whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, they make you feel like your relationships with others are fragile. They make you doubt your ability to be understood, seen, or valued by anyone other than them. Slowly, they turn your people into enemies or distractions. They twist your loyalty, make you feel guilty for investing in relationships that don't revolve around them. And if you let them, they'll create a little world where they are the only one who truly understands you, where their opinions, their feelings, their perspectives are the only ones that matter. But here's the hard truth. This is not about you. This is not about love. This is about control. This is about making you so emotionally dependent on them that you lose sight of your own power. You lose sight of your own worth. You lose sight of your own choices. At its core, isolation attempts are meant to break you down. They chip away at your confidence in others and your confidence in yourself. They manipulate your need for connection, making you believe that if you don't prioritize them over everyone else, you're somehow doing something wrong. And they do this so subtly that by the time you realize it's happening, you're already feeling lonely, confused, and questioning your relationships. It's not just about being alone, it's about the feeling that nobody gets you, the feeling that your connection with others is shallow, unreliable, or even toxic. Again, it's about pushing you into a space where they become your sole source of validation and attention, so that if you ever need something or someone else, you feel guilty for even considering it. And here's the thing. True connection is built on trust, not dependence. True love and care are about uplifting, not isolating. Healthy relationship doesn't make you feel like you have to choose between yourself and others. It amplifies your relationships, encouraging you to grow stronger as an individual while still being supported. When someone tries to isolate you, it's important to remember they are not protecting you, they are controlling you. They are not trying to preserve your well-being. They are trying to rewrite the rules of your world so that you will only feel whole with them. This is not an act of love. It's a calculated effort to limit your choices, to make you think your only option is to stay tethered to them, even when it costs you your peace, your relationships, and your self-worth. The scariest part of isolation attempts is the way they often disguise themselves as care. They'll say things like, I just want you to be happy. They don't really have your best interests at heart, but I do. You don't need to spend time with them. You're better off with me. And in those moments when you're emotionally tired or vulnerable, those words can seem so comforting. But the moment you hear them, pause. Stop. Ask yourself, who benefits from my isolation? Who profits when I stop being supported by the people who truly love me? Remember this, isolation is never a form of care. It's a manipulation designed to make you smaller, quieter, easier to control. And you don't have to buy into it. You don't have to shrink yourself into someone else's idea of who you should be. The people who love you will support your connections. The people who love you will help you expand, not contract. The people who love you will cheer when you thrive with others. And the people who love you will never ask you to choose between them and your people. So when you feel someone trying to isolate you, resist the urge to shrink away. Seek out the people who see you, the ones who respect your boundaries and love you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. And if you find yourself feeling alone in that moment, Remember, loneliness is not a sign that you're not enough. It's a sign that someone else is trying to take your power. When emotional manipulation doesn't work, when isolation attempts fall flat, when guilt and shame can't control you, and when playing the victim fails to land, the final weapon many people will turn to is the most damaging and most personal of all: smear campaigns. A smear campaign is nothing less than an attack on your character. It's the quiet, insidious whisper campaign meant to destroy your reputation, to paint you as untrustworthy, crazy, toxic, or even unkind. It's a calculated effort to rewrite the story of who you are, to make you the villain in a narrative that's been entirely invented. And it's done with the intention of shutting you down, of silencing you through fear and shame. They'll tell lies. They'll twist truths, they'll exaggerate flaws, they'll take private moments and spin them into a distorted, malicious tale that spreads like wildfire. At first, you might not even notice it. It may start as an offhand comment from someone you trust, someone you love. Did you hear what they're saying about you? I don't want to be involved, but people are starting to talk. Or worse, it may be more direct. You are still whole, you are still worthy, and you are still enough no matter what they say. If they tear you down in their words, you stand taller in your silence. If they spread falsehoods, you stand in your truth. If they try to make you small, you rise even bigger. And if they spread hatred, you respond with love. For yourself and for those who still see the real you. Because smear campaigns will always be a reflection of the insecurities, fears, and weaknesses of the person behind them. They will never be a reflection of your character, your integrity, or your worth. So hold your head high, let them gossip, let them talk,